Hello?
Hey.
Okay. All right, so we're going to do this. Sorry, it's a different recording device, internet people.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at the oldest game. This game is actually somewhat disputed as whether or not it's the oldest game. We think it's the oldest game we have recorded. Spoiler alert, it's only 43 moves. The game continued past that point, but we only have 43 moves recorded. It was played in China, and at this time period, they practiced something called placement, which means the game starts this way. And it was really the Japanese who played more at the open board. And so during the golden age of Go, between 1600 and the 1800s, Japanese became very strong at the opening compared to Chinese players. But that's mainly because China was still doing this thing for hundreds of years, where Japanese could play anywhere on the board. So they start with this placement. These players are recorded as Sun Si as being black, Louis Fan as being white. We're like, this is sketchy as all hell, though.
Okay.
For number that we've had this record. I don't know for how many years. This record we've known it to be this Go record, but for a period of time it was considered to be apocryphal, or they think someone might have made it up centuries later. But now people think it's actually authentic again. So
That's history for you.
So who knows? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. But I thought we would take a look at it, and immediately you'll see some differences between what we would play today and what they thought was a good move then. But also, number two, at one point they actually play a Joseki. And again, we believe this game is about 1,800 plus years old-ish, give or take a few hundred. It's almost 2,000-year-old game. They play a Joseki that we're still playing today, and I thought that was really exciting. So, shall we see the game?
Let's.
Oh yeah, white plays first. This was
Really bizarre.
Black doesn't play first.
Black does not play first. No, white goes first in these really ancient games. And black plays here. What do you guys think of this move?
It's fine.
All right,
I guess.
Yeah, this is still a Joseki move today. What's the continuation for white in this Joseki?
Maybe ask for a little.
Yeah, this would be the normal continuation.
Okay.
White doesn't play the normal continuation. We're going off book, biblical style here.
Whoa. That's.
And you can see, why you can think of this move as being good, like conceptually, right? Like we wouldn't normally think to play this, but this move actually does at least two nice things, maybe three. The first of which is, you see this stone over here? Hey, we're starting to build a box. Like even back then, they knew, build a box, build a giant box. That's a good idea. Number two, this is very thin, right? So it's starting to threaten to come in here and invade or cut these two stones. So it's putting pressure on this corner group. However, black is not at all concerned yet with the corner, so black plays here. And so why does black play here? Right at the box. What do you think of this point? Why here and not here or here? Why this point?
It gives more space for two lines either way.
Yeah, this is a really nice base move in either direction, right?
Yeah.
See, it's like, man, 2,000 years ago, and they already knew this stuff, right? Like, this is the point to invade. We would still play that move. Today, we might consider playing high. We also might consider playing this move. Would also be a good move in this situation. But yeah, this is a nice move, like even today. Next move is a little strange. Why do you think I say this is a little strange?
Not big enough.
Pushing black
Little
towards maybe the corner.
Yeah, it's sort of like a weird direction. But something you're going to see in a lot of these really old games is that the players are really occupied with making bases. And even though there's opportunities for a lot of complexity, and this is true both in the Chinese games as well as the Japanese games, although many more of the old Chinese games are more famous for creating fighting early on, perhaps because of the placement stones. We even see in their games there's this like, I want a base now, like this. There's this incentive that outweighs everything else. And we're going to see that happen several times over in this game, right? We're going to see players be overly concerned with making a base. But we still like to do that today, right? If you have a weak stone, I mean, or something that could become weak, just make a base for it. So that's pretty cool. Where do you think black plays?
Builds a base, I guess. If we're
Yeah, black built a base, right? Completely expected. The next move, totally a move we would still play today. Totally a modern move.
Kick.
R14.
Right, we have kick as an idea, and we have, what's the other idea? 12.
R14.
Yeah, like this.
On,
Yes,
The corner,
corner and closure.
oh, corner, this one.
Yeah, or
One
the
lower.
left. Yes.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So this is what they play. This is actually the more expected move here. This is even better than these. So why?
Because it makes black over concentrated.
Yeah.
Depends.
White's already strong here, right? We've invested 3 white moves. So if white's strong here, we don't want to just back off and let black get very comfortable. We want to either make black a little uncomfortable or at the very least make him over-concentrated. We want to get something. So this move's totally legit. This is not just a 2,000-year-old move. This is still a good move today. What do you think black does?
Depends.
Yeah, again, normal, right? This is man. Go, man. This just transcends the universe. If there's aliens that play Go, right? They know this stuff too. Right, it's pretty amazing. Next move for white is a little unusual. What move would you expect?
Space shorter.
Yeah, here or probably
Yeah.
possibly here as well,
Yeah.
depending on what we felt like our prospects were over here and over here, both of these. This one sort of leaves a little bit too much of a defect for our liking, because once black gets strong enough here, it's too easy for black to invade the corner. So we would often play a little more conservative here to make sure we got something. In this case, this can get very messy.
Well, black did a extended knight's move also in the opening.
Oh yeah, they like this move a lot.
Oh,
The big kaima, the ogaima, they like this one a lot. So this is normal, right? And part of it is you can sort of assume that they're aware that there's stuff in here, but they think it's either too difficult for black to get in here and destroy this, or for white to get in here and destroy it. They have to pay too high a price to do it. I.e., if white comes in here, maybe black gets too big of a wall. That's their value system. So they don't mind. They want to be greedy. Or I suppose it's always possible they just don't know that white can invade in here. But I don't think that's the case. All right, next move is not really a normal move, but you can see why they would play it.
pressure's on them.
Now everyone can feel like, oh, now there's really a problem in here, right? It turns out you actually don't need this move to make corner reduction moves work. You don't need to do it, but it makes it much more powerful when it does. So this is still, I wouldn't say this is what we'd expect to see in a professional game today, but it's still very playable and very like if you saw this in a professional game, you wouldn't. It doesn't seem that wrong. It still makes sense. White has a weakness. The one thing you could say is, well, we're helping white fix the weakness. But at the same time, maybe white doesn't have a really good way to fix the weakness. But I'd start to get scared if white fixed it this way. And now, this is not what white plays, but I think white should continue to put pressure over here. Instead, white does the same thing. So a little tit for tat kind of sequence. In this case, black fixes this way. And it's kind of interesting, right? It's still saying, hey, you can still sort of, destroy stuff over here. But if you do and I get strong here, I'm actually going to put pressure on your base. Again, these players, right, you can tell they're very preoccupied with having safe bases. This is just, the style of the time. So white just blocks, again, preserves eye space, and again, threatens to invade again.
Do you know how strong the players are?
No. We think very good,
Okay.
but we don't know enough about the time period to say for certain like what the equivalent would be today. We think they're very strong for their time though.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here. Strange, right?
Yeah.
Like
Feels safe, I guess.
it's way too safe, right? We like this is the first move where we could say like this is like a really slow move, right? We saw like this was kind of slow, pushing this way. You know, this might be a little slow, but it's acceptable. This is a really slow move. You know, as again, it sort of goes with the axiom: if your opponent's weak, your stones are strong. So building a two-space base here, right, is like the most defensive structure we can possibly make in the opening on any side of the board. It's very, very slow, right? And they're preoccupied, right? Safety first, make bases, then attack. White responds. And this is natural, right? Because if you think, well, hey, maybe black gets this, this can start to get very large very
Yeah.
quickly. But today, right, we look at these two third line stones and go, this is not much potential. Because even if black gets in a move here, we might be able to come in here with moves like this, or like this, possibly this. We can fight a ko like this. And while we're doing any of those things, we can still reduce from the outside.
You're saying this isn't.
I'm not saying it's enough. So, what do you think of that spacing?
Same as the other side.
Hey, it's the same thing, right? Like if you're playing Go in 200 AD, this is like a requisite move. If you can make a base here and a base here, you have to play this. Break it up.
Rolls loses pincer.
It is, but it is.
But it also
Yeah.
gives white enough space to make a two-space base.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
peaceful invasion,
Yeah.
right? Everyone will get settled. And of course, what would you expect? Black move?
Two-space.
Good.
Yeah. So much third line.
Yeah.
So much third line.
And white.
No, here's probably my favorite, other than the part where they actually play out a modern Joseki. Here's probably my favorite part of the game.
Nice.
Such a rebel.
I know.
I guess it kind of makes sense since they've been doing those two space extensions to tech the only place with three spaces.
Yeah, and you can see, you just look around, right? They, in their mind, two spaces is really solid. Right? Two spaces, two spaces, two spaces, two spaces, two spaces. Three spaces, oh my God.
Kill.
We have a problem. And it's true, right? The difference between two spaces and three spaces is huge. Now today, especially in professional games, three spaces gets played all the time. And basically, when you play three spaces, it's kind of like saying, come at me, bro. Like, I know I have a defect, but if you come in, we're going to fight. And, that's just a style for a lot of players. Black covers here. What do you think white does? R4, so just crawls.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put
No, one more forward.
R4 attaches. So R4.
Yeah.
Okay. 3-3.
That's good too.
Any
I like
others?
3-3 a bit more.
This is what gets played.
Okay, sweet.
You're like pro player, circa 200 CE.
Yeah, totally smash the goal.
Maya's got this. Yeah, this is what they play. And again, this is saying, hey, black, which way do you want to block? If you block this way, I'll live here. If you block this way, hey, my base is really big and I have your corner now.
Yeah.
Again, black goes peaceful. An interesting move here. In this case, we expect to see a move here. think most often. Black plays here. Which is probably a little too territorial, for modern style. A little too focused on territory. White hanes, black blocks. It does, make sure black is very solid though. And where do you think white plays?
E4.
P4, you think white takes the shape point? White does not. But this is a very nice shape point.
Maybe C6 or something like that for going
Yeah.
up top.
C6?
70.
You're close. If white plays this, of course, white can save this stone later, perhaps. Or at least, if black insists on taking it, white can make a wall here. So this has some nice follow-ups. Other ideas? We had, someone said, I think C6, right?
Yep.
Yeah, or D, 6D.
Or D6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Also not what they played. Not what Louis Font
C8
thinks.
maybe?
C8 would be very much in style, but it would leave this thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking more of.
Yeah.
Close.
Actually, they're gonna play something similar to this first. They're gonna make a preparatory move though. They will play this eventually, but first.
E3?
Kick this one.
Oh! Who is that?
Black stands. And you guess? Anyone want to guess where white plays?
C6.
No.
C7.
C7. That would be the style of the time.
I missed it.
Defect on the other side.
Now, none of these have really been modern Joseki, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I told you guys there was a modern Joseki somewhere. And it's about to happen. This black plays here. Now, normally we would expect to see this more when white plays here. So I'm sort of adapting the modern Joseki. It actually doesn't really make a big difference if white has a stone here as far as the pattern is concerned. But this is a Joseki invasion. You want to move here? Have you guys seen this before? No? Okay, well then you're going to learn a modern Joseki from looking at this 200 CE game. What do you think white plays?
16R.
16R is correct. Just connect, fix the weaknesses. What does black play?
P18.
Very good. P18. What does white play?
The Heine's,
S.
It's Joseki.
righty, Heine's next to the Gladstone on the single line.
This move? Yes. Joseki. This move looks terrible.
It does.
Because why does it look terrible?
Because
Black.
black.
Yeah, black is Ataris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what they play. It's still Joseki.
Okay.
The next move is the move that makes it cool. And if you've never seen it before, we'll be like, what?
Is it R18?
S.
It is R18. Huh. Well, clearly if you save the stone, what's going to happen?
They just capture the one.
They just eat the corner and you can maybe get something going over here.
Yeah.
So you can, this is possible. If you have influence over here and can cut off the corner from these three stones, maybe. But this is the peaceful Joseki variation. And it's actually really neat if you actually stop and think about it. Because if black extends, black doesn't extend, but if black extends, what does white do?
Parti.
Connect.
Or connect.
And if black needs to fix, right? But then what does white do?
And
Yeah, and then eats these three. So taking this Atari actually means black can't extend. It's very cool.
yeah.
So instead, what is black's only choice?
Take.
Take Joseki. What is white's move?
Connect.
Yeah, Atari.
Yeah.
And they do not, of course, fill yet. This is usually left as endgame for many, many moves later. But that's Joseki. This is a standard endgame corner reduction Joseki. And not only did black get a little bit into the corner, black's group out here got a little bit stronger as well. Black got to get this stone in, as well as got to get this stone. So black actually has a little more safety as far as this base is concerned. All in Sente. So that's why it's acceptable for black. Even though it looks like white solidified the corner and he captured 2 stones later, black got 2 free moves and took away a few points. And later on, again, in endgame, black might get this, and that's a pretty big endgame. Because of these cuts and or Hane and these points. Should we review that Joseki?
Sure.
Sure. So how do we reduce this corner as black?
3-3.
Then
Need to QR some.
block this way.
Yeah.
Then
P18.
good. Connect.
Well,
Block.
Yeah.
Atari.
Atari,
Atari.
take.
capture.
Capture.
Connect.
Atari. The end of Joseki. That's modern, dude. 2,000 years ago, they knew this pattern. It's so awesome.
It's actually a pretty nifty one too.
It's a really nifty pattern, and half you guys in here didn't know it. So, yeah, you should know it by now.
They did it.
All right, next move.
That is ambitious.
But here's the thing. Remember how white didn't get the shape point?
Yeah.
That means there's crap in here. All right. White does not block. This is not the game. But you can kind of see. I think this just works. I mean, oh, actually, white can connect there. Maybe my move order is wrong. Maybe play that one first. No, it doesn't help either. What would work here? Alright, so black can play here to seal in white. That's cool. Can black play this first? No, it doesn't get much. Huh. What is the defect? I should have looked at this. I assume this would create a problem. Maybe we can just cut that way. And white would like to Atari, but if so, gets cut. If white takes this Atari now, we exchange and eat those two. Something like this. That's kind of a cool little armpit hit kind of move. When your opponent has defects, you can make use of things. White goes, no, I don't want to deal with that. That's going to let you connect, which improves the life of black's base over here. So black is happy. Again, white is not coming in here. This is very different than today, right? We would, just playing outside, and never punishing the inside. How many moves for that is white? That's 5 moves now on the outside. And black still has invasion points for almost that whole time. This would be a very, very different scenario today. But it does sort of link up, all white stones on this side. So it's a natural move, but if you have a strong group here and a strong group here, you need to find a move on the inside. And, right away, we would have some candidates. Like that move. Looks pretty hard to deal with. So, a little soft. So black played a really soft move over here, white played a really soft move up here. Black goes, oh my god, you got me. Okay. And that's a good move. Black needs to
Solidify.
make a base pretty quickly. And then the final move of the game record. It's the final move. Is there?
What's the whole point of the Canadian record?
What's
You
the
don't
whole?
even know who won.
That's all that was recorded.
That's all that was recorded.
We're all that survived. It's real old.
It's like a 2,000-year-old
Was
game.
there an earthquake? Not even a,
This is all they
not even
recorded.
which color won?
That's all they recorded.
Grief.
What do you guys think of this move?
I like it.
It makes a nice framework, I think.
I really hate it.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't hate this one move in particular. I hate the shape.
oh, and the double, came up.
The,
Yeah, because there's still a reduction here.
Like, you didn't actually track the corner at all.
Right. There's still the potential for invasion or cut here.
Okay.
Right. You can still be reduced. Like it looks like it's the type of move that's fixing everything, but it's really not.
Yeah.
And it's clear like he needs to do something here. This is very thin, otherwise it's going to get invaded. But this is, I mean, this group's already live. It's not like you're putting pressure on it. That's some weak sauce, 2,000-year-old Go game.
Hear that red flag.
Some weak sauce. So I really hate the shape that you end up with. It's because there are so many defects. But maybe this group is still a little tenuous. So maybe white can be optimistic and play a soft move over here. So if black tries anything, maybe there's a way to punish. But that's it. That's all we have for this game. Sure.
very different.
It's certainly a piece of Go history. And, again, we're not 100% sure it's completely authentic or completely from the time period we think it is. But it's certainly in line with what we believe to be true about Go playing during that time. So if nothing else, at least it's stylistically, theoretically accurate, we think.
Game between 50 cues.
It's much better than, 15
I wouldn't
cues wouldn't
say-
find moves like this, right, or play this.
I wouldn't say
They could get
necessarily.
Right, so you can tell the players are pretty strong.
I wouldn't say 15 clues. It's just people that are very overly protective to make sure things don't die.
Yeah, like there's a very strong stylistic bias.
Yeah.
And again, maybe that has something to do with the fact that, they start with placement stunts.
I think they have an idea of how things might die, but not entirely. So they're just like,
Well, I don't doubt the reading ability,
yeah.
right? Especially when you look at moves, like here and here. I think this is too good, even 43 moves in like the most peaceful 2,000-year-old Go game you could possibly imagine. You can still tell that they can read,
Yeah.
right? And that's really cool. So we're not dealing with, uneducated players here. So, but there is this bias towards, the game being more like water than it is like fire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was neat.
Yeah.
That is neat.
Yeah. You guys want to play some Go?